Next, I would like to welcome Lynn Rosenthal to the stage. Lynn is the Director of Sexual and Gender-Based Violence at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, where she leads the department's work to implement the National Plan to End Gender-Based Violence and related initiatives. As Lynn has shared herself, she is a social worker by training and an advocate by passion. Please welcome Lynn to the stage.
Okay, wow. That's what I have to say when I walked in this room. I've been coming to this conference for a long time. This is not only equity in action, but it's also power in action. That's what I see in this room. I bring you greetings from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, specifically from Secretary Becerra, who's a good friend to many of you in this room, and Dr. Rachel Levine, who is the Assistant Secretary for Health and the head of the U.S. Public Health Service. You'll hear us refer to her as Admiral Levine because her title confers what she does as the head of the U.S. Public Health Service. Admiral Levine is also the first openly transgender person confirmed by the U.S. Senate. As the White House Office of Personnel People something often says, people are policy, and we see that in this administration. In recognition of what the LGBTQI+ community is going through, Admiral Levine declared not only June as Pride Month, but a Summer of Pride 2023. So we're still acknowledging that. Admiral Levine is a great leader in the U.S. government and in the Department of Health and Human Services, and I'm very honored to work closely with her. HHS is committed to the new vision of ending sexual violence that we see represented here at this conference. We seek to integrate the goals of the National Action Plan across our health and behavioral health services, including substance use programming, health screening, maternal health, mental health care, and so many of our other programs. Secretary Becerra always says to us, bring us bold ideas, and I know that that's what we're going to hear about in this conference today, and especially in this morning's plenary with Nicole Pittman. Bring us bold ideas. As a personal note, I want to say that this conference is very special to me because this conference is the first place that I ever spoke out loud my own personal story about the series of sexual assaults I had experienced as a teenager. I hadn't planned to do so. I remember I was working at the White House at the time, and I was driving from D.C. to Baltimore in that kind of exhausted state that you have when you work in the White House. And as I was driving, I thought, what could I really offer to this very esteemed group of people? And you already knew a lot of the work that we were doing in the Obama White House and campus and military and so many other areas. So I thought what I could best do is add my story to all of the stories, to the stories of the many. And we're here today on behalf of those whose stories have been told and those whose stories have not, those who have spoken out loud and those who continue to suffer in silence. There are lots of different ways of healing. But I could only share my story that I had never spoken out loud before because of the open-hearted generosity of this conference. I hope that is everyone's experience this week. And as we jump back into this wild world of conferences, I also hope that we remember what we learned in the quiet, what we learned in the quiet times. And that's to take care of ourselves and each other. Thank you and have a great conference.